Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to us on a Tuesday night. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We have another premiere, and I'm rather thrilled about this one. This is special. So, again, stay tuned. 402-464-5685, the Starter Heyman text line on the Lincoln Hotline. If you want to add to the conversation, you got questions, you got comments, all of those are there. The young ladies will dive into it, and we'll share your text with them until they get used to doing it themselves. If you want to follow the Starter Heyman live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter Live. We're live on Twitter, so you can actually follow the stream as well. This one's a good one. Big Red Birdies. I'm thrilled because it's a space that we needed to get into, and the universe takes care of us because it brings you the right people. And these two young ladies are exactly what we were looking for. We didn't know what we were looking for, but they are it. And the first interview, I thought right away, okay, this is good. There's enough contrast. This is going to work. So you guys get to tell the listeners what your process is and how you go through it. I have to be honest and tell you that my next door neighbor, who is a big-time Husker alumni booster kind of guy, plays golf all the time. And he said he listened to your guys' interview, and he said, you know what? I followed what they said, and I cut 4 strokes off my game.
Oh, wow.
So Wayne, I had to hear. He said to share the story with you. He goes, that's how exceptional this is. Lindsey Thiele and Megan Whittaker, ladies, how are we doing tonight?
We're good.
Yeah, glad
Happy to be here.
Right. So the nerves are going to play into this thing, and we'll get through it because what we know to be true is that when people share themselves, they tend to let their guard down a little bit and they relax. So once again, for the folks that don't know your stories, I ask student athletes all the time, whose shoulders are you on to get here? Like, who helped you get to the University of Nebraska doing what you do? Megan?
For me, it was definitely family, specifically my parents and my brother. Ever since I was a kid, they have instilled a very good work ethic into me. And my brothers pushed me every day in all different sports and aspects of life. And if it wasn't for my parents' support and my brother pushing me, I definitely wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Lindsey?
Yeah, for me, the family background definitely plays a big role in it too. I come from a small town, multi-sport athlete, grew up with 4 sisters who actually all played golf and then the other sports that I played as well in basketball and volleyball. So yeah, definitely having always that person to practice with, to go out on the course with and kind of, compete with you and play some fun games. That was kind of who formed me. For sure.
Is golf a family thing for both of you?
Yes, for us, we play just about every weekend, any weekend of the year that it's warm enough out. All 4 of us will go out and play Saturday and Sunday. We'll do some sort of game like 2-on-2, or we'll switch teams at the turn and make it competitive, give different strokes here and there to make it equal. And every time it comes down to the 17th or 18th hole.
Yeah.
So you guys know each other. You know the weakness of the game.
Yes.
You know the strength. You know how to kind of talk trash and get them
Yes.
distracted. How much talking trash happened?
For me, it's more between the boys in our family. My brother and my dad talk more. My mom and I are pretty quiet. We just carry on with our golfing, but the boys will snipe at each other a little bit.
Who's the best golfer in the family?
It depends on the day.
That is such a political answer.
Yeah,
That is such a. You'll learn this about me. No.
I feel like golf families have that answer a lot, though. It really does.
I get it, but no, because I know that when you line up who you have to pay attention to that day.
Mm.
Like somebody has been hitting it well, and they're hitting it well.
Yeah. That's the thing, though, that changes so much,
Mm-hmm.
Who's playing well, who's practicing the most at the moment,
And sometimes different courses you play better at.
Yeah.
That's what happens
really
with our
depends,
family.
I think.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, where do you practice the most as a team?
We split, I would say, pretty evenly between Wilderness Ridge and then Firethorn Golf Course. So those are our 2 main ones.
So in those spaces, I always find it interesting whether the team comes first in golf or whether the individual comes first? So you working on the thing that you need to work on in your head versus the thing that your coach thinks you need to work on. Which voice is louder?
I think they kind of go together in the fact that what you're working on, you kind of have in the back of your head that while it's also going to help you, you're trying to put yourself in the best position to help your team score also. So I think with golf, they kind of blend nicely. There are a few other sports like that too, with like cross country and other ones like that, where it's like you can't do well as an individual without that helping your team. Your team can't do well without you doing well as an individual.
Well, because teammates compete at a different level and they compete with a different intensity. The coach in me identifies personalities pretty quickly, right? It's like, okay, Megan, I'm a fan of just the way you process because it means as a coach, there's certain things I'm not going to have to talk to you about. The one thing I don't want to talk about is intensity and passion for what you do. And I would imagine that there's nobody harder on you than you. Is that fair?
Yes. Yes.
Right? That's fair. How do you carry that when you have Lindsey, who's like the bright bulb and shines, and it becomes like she's got so much rhythm in this thing that you grind. So how do you practice with her without stepping on toes?
That's a good question. I think we talk with each other about how we practice well, because I know you do different drills than I do, and so it's good sometimes to hear someone else's perspective and do their drills. And I know, like, even at home with my brother and I, he looks at things totally differently than I do, and so it's nice to just have that balance during practice because it makes you approach the game a different way. And I think that's been the coolest thing about college is having 10 different teammates that have all grown up totally differently. Like you can bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
Lindsey, you enjoy it. And it shows that you enjoy it. But there's also that competitive line that you have to jump across when friction happens.
Yeah.
So how do you where's your joy come from? Is it just because you're playing the sport you love, because you're good at it, because you're growing in it? Where'd it come from?
Yeah, I think there's multiple things that kind of feed into that. One of it definitely is that competitive side. I just love going out and being able to compete. And with golf, that's one of the things. You're not always competing against the same person. A lot of times you're just competing against the course, which is going to be different every time. So there's so many different avenues of competition you can find within one round of golf. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from. Another part is just being able to be creative, and you're always learning new things with golf. So there's nothing like, learning a new shot and being able to perfect that a little bit on the range or on the chipping green or something. So I get a lot of joy from that too. Like when you've just been grinding and working on this one part of your game and then you finally see it pay off.
Well, but you're playing, this is the time of year where you're playing match play. You're playing, some of this is on your own. So are you working on the things that you do well or the things that you don't do so well? Like, because it's match play now, it's just you.
Yeah.
I, in the past, have not worked on the things that, I need to be working on. This summer, I've switched that and I've made myself work on my weaknesses, which has helped my game a lot. It's
you get to know yourself a little bit, right? It's a little different when you're not in your comfortable place.
So it's hard because I think with golf, it's easy to lose confidence really quick. And so it's important that, you also still do some of the things you're good at to make sure that you don't lose those strengths, because you don't want to, if you're a great driver of the ball and you just stop practice driver to focus on something else, all of a sudden your driver doesn't work and now you're in more trouble everywhere. So I think it's a balance between it all.
Yeah, that's true.
Lindsey, how do you get through it? Like, how do you have that? Okay. Today's a tough day because I got to work on the thing that I need to work on. How do you get through that?
I think incorporating something within your practice that you're going to do well. So
I'm
let's
say slide the microphone. You get straight on so they can hear you.
I would say incorporating something into your practice that you're going to be able to finish with well. Whether that's a drill you love. For me, it's a certain putting drill that I usually start my practice with, and then if I know that I'm going to have a super hard day of practice where I'm going to be frustrated a lot of the time, I might finish with that just because I'm comfortable with it. I know how to do it. I know I can do it well. I think that helps a lot of times to get through the practice.
Let's go through the process. So it's just you on a course. Take us through your warm-ups, the things you're thinking about in your head, how you plan your day. Megan, what do you start with? Is it stretching? Is it driving? Is it short game? What do you work on first?
For me, I go to the range first. I work my way through the bag. I start with 9-iron and some 8-irons, 6-irons, and then drivers. And then I end with some wedges to get my tempo down before I am done with the range. And then I'll typically go do quite a bit of chipping and bunker shots to get the feel of the greens because those normally change overnight. And then I'll go focus on putting. And that's kind of the biggest focus for me before a round is figure out the speed of the greens and like, are my fundamentals solid? Which way, make sure I can read the greens, get the speed down. And if I know it's a big tournament and I'm nervous, I can feel my heart rate going up. I go back and hit a couple balls on the range to get the hooks out of the way. Yep.
Let's get loose.
But if I'm pretty calm, then I just go to the first tee after that. You talk to teammates in between all those parts to keep you nice and relaxed and talk to coaches, talk to your parents if they're there, which makes it a lot more relaxing.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that relationship though, parents.
Yeah.
I found that to be true.
Yeah, that's
that is not a conversation that everybody wants to have. Lindsay, what's for you? What's your process?
For me, the places I go is pretty much the same as Megan. I think that's pretty typical in a college tournament.
Yeah.
So I start at the range. I don't like to have a lot of thoughts in my head on the range the day of a tournament. I found just growing up and in the past few years that is really
that's
not
cool.
great for me.
No, that's so good, right? Because they'll say like there's a movie that is don't think you'll hurt the ball club, like and I I'm that way, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I like doing all my swing thoughts and things in the days leading up to the course in the tournament. So the morning of, I'm more just hitting on the range to get warmed up, make sure I'm loose. I just have a set plan that I go through. I hit 3 balls with pitching wedge, 8-iron, 6-iron, 3-wood driver. And then once I'm done there, I'm done. So I just try not to think too much about it. If I don't have great contact, I move on. And it just helps me kind of let go of things better if it's not going so great and not dwell on it as I'm going into my round.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is it more mechanics focused or results focused?
On the day of a tournament, results for sure. Yeah. That's one thing. Our Coach Sutherland, she taught me that last year. If it's not going super well, like your contact or something on the day of a tournament, start instead, even just off the tee, think about where you want it to end up and not so much even the path you want to get there. And that has been huge for me. I think about that now every time before I take a shot.
Well, because it happens, right?
Yeah,
that you get in the space. And I don't know, I've never witnessed college match play in person. So I'm always curious about the conversations that happen between teammates, because you may see Lindsay's stroke and say, okay, this is a thing. And Lindsay may not want to hear it. There are people that have a different focus. How do you deal with that? Do you make that decision simply just because of the relationship? Like, I trust you enough to come up and say, no, this is all in your hands, man. This is loosened up a little bit.
I think most of our team, we don't say much to each other. I think we kind of let each other be. Unless we really have a good relationship, but typically it's just our coaches.
You don't have a talker on the team? You don't have somebody that just talks anyway?
I think we all do pretty well. I would say it's more, the communication that goes on is more like how we know we want to be lifted up or like, I don't know, positively reinforced, I would say.
Not everybody wants to be coached the same way. It's a conversation we had, that there are people that want straight talk.
Yeah.
There are people that want folks in their head, and there are people that want to have conversation about the mechanics.
Yeah.
And it just depends. And that to me, for golfing, I would imagine that's the importance of a coach, is knowing the difference of how they talk to you guys.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm going to ask you this question because every golfer that I know has an answer. What is your favorite club and why?
My 8-iron for sure. That's just a standard iron that I know I can get it where I need to. It's
most trusted.
Yeah, for sure.
You do less better with it.
Yeah. Kind of a standard answer.
Okay.
But it is for me.
I'm the same, 8-iron.
Yep.
I can just trust it. It's like I know the ball flight of it. Even if I'm in the trees, I can find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
So
what's the club in your bag that you've given a name to because it is the most difficult, stubborn club? club. It's the one that you have to have conversations with on match day. Like, listen, Mary, let's get this thing done here. What is it for you?
It's my pitching wedge. Sometimes it decides to go like sail over the green, and sometimes it ends up 20 yards short, and I can never figure out.
Have you given it a name yet?
Not yet. No.
See, that's when you know you're in a relationship.
Oh yeah.
What's your club?
Mine would be my hybrid. That's the one I'm.
But that's odd because that's such a unique choice.
Yeah.
Like that club can make your day. Or
I know. I think that's why I have such a tough time with it, because it can either go so well and it can put me in super great position, maybe on like a par 5 to be sitting there for eagle or birdie. Otherwise, it can really harm me, and I'll end up in the trees trying to save par on a par 5.
But are you better playing in front of the card, or are you better when your back's against the wall and you have to make shots? Like some people, when it's going well, they stay and they continue to elevate. There are people that, you know what, they need to struggle a little bit to get it together. Where do you fall?
I definitely used to be the person that had to like fall backwards first, and then once I hit a point, it almost got in my head. I thought, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. So then I relaxed and could just go out and play. But now I'm working to be better at, if you start well, just keep going, green light, keep going at everything. But that's a hard mindset to not just settle in, because golf, anything can happen after one hole.
Especially at the collegiate level, right? That there are days when somebody is going to get a start on you. So, Lindsey, for you, what's your preference? Get out front. Are you a front runner?
That's a tough spot for me. Something I'm actively working on, because a lot of times for me, I get very caught up in the first few holes and how they go, and that's a weakness of mine. So if I start off great, that sets the tone for my round. It's a hard thing to work through, because then if I don't start off so great, I have to. Sometimes it does benefit me when I kind of, kick it in gear. It's go time now. That's something I'd say I'm not very good at. So those first few holes, I think, dictate a little too much of my round right now.
I had a coach that called it athletic arrogance, which meant you were comfortable in whatever was coming. And it happens through maturity. It happens through experience. I'll ask you, are you athletically arrogant?
I think it depends on the day.
Right? There are days you feel it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there are days where you're not sure. But for the most part, you say, yeah?
I'd say like 60%. Yes. Yeah.
Lindsey?
I'd like to be more so. I would like to. I'm very impressed by people that can really, in their heads, keep their emotions out of it. I'm not one to show my emotions outwardly very much, but a lot of times there's a lot going on inside my head. I feel like with what you're saying, those people are like, whatever's going on, they can just let it go off their shoulders, and they can deal with kind of whatever comes their way.
Well, what's your reset? So let's say you have two bad swings. What's your reset? Like, there's a thing that everybody has in their head.
Yeah.
What's your reset? What's the thing you're going to say to yourself to get you set up to change direction again?
I not so much something I say to myself, but I actively, consciously slow down my walking, because I tend to speed up. That's something
good.
I've learned about myself. I speed up walking when I get nervous or feel pressure or feel like I need to do something. I speed up my walking. So I consciously, in my head, will either like count my steps and count them out so I make sure I'm doing it. I'll just do something to make sure I am slow and relaxed before I get to my next shot.
Right.
I slow down too. I try to slow down. I'll actually talk to myself and make sure I'm talking at a normal pace and not talking fast. So it's best when I can have a conversation with someone I'm playing with, because then they're normally talking slower than me, and then I slow down. So it works out.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then that means that your partner is important. Like whoever you're playing with is very important, because you get with the wrong person and it's a nightmare.
Yes. So
like I said, there's always a chatty Kathy on a team.
Yeah.
They exist. Like it's the thing. So do you watch your videos to critique or correct? When you get to see yourself on film, what are you doing? What are you looking for?
Typically with my swing, when I'm watching that, it's to correct, to look at those positions and be like, okay, does my swing look okay? Is there something that needs to be fixed? So I'm looking at everything. Like, was I even lined up first before the shot happened, or was I lined up over here and that's where something else? So yeah, I definitely critique myself.
Yeah. I'm usually looking at if I'm applying what I was working on in my swing the day before. If I'm able to carry that to the course, that's usually what I'm looking for.
Who is it that knows your swing well enough to correct you quickly?
Mine's my swing coach in Omaha, Mike Cornell, because I've worked with him now for, I think, 10 plus years. So I can go to him at any point or send him a video, and he knows. He's like, I mean, there was one time I was playing at Fremont, and my right foot, instead of being straight up and down, was twisted like 30 degrees. He texted me that night and said, I know you weren't going to play well. So you were out of balance and your hips got too far ahead based off that photo I saw posted on Twitter. It's like you saw one photo of my foot and you knew that my hips were screwed. Like, it was insane. And sure enough, I did not hit it well that day.
Who do you call?
Mine's my swing coach as well. He's out of Wichita, Kansas. Josh Cook is his name. And yeah, we have a really good relationship where I can just send him a video here and there a few times a week, or text him or call him, whatever, and he can do something pretty quick with it.
Harrison, what you got?
Yeah, and then Ray texted, and he texts in every now and then. He said, as a bad golfer, I can never allow myself to not acknowledge that I'm having a decent round, because as soon as I think that, it falls apart. Do you guys ever get that? Where you're just like having a really good round and then you just don't want to acknowledge it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
Sometimes
And you don't want to
put
jinx
it out
it.
of your mind.
Yes.
Like, you don't want to jinx it, and you
Yeah.
it's there. We're going to go to break. When we come back, I want to ask, and give you time to think about it. What's the relationship between your collegiate coach and your swing coach? Because that relationship can either make it really good or not really good. We'll get their answers when we come back to Big Red Birdies.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Mama, what does the chicken say? Dog. Cat. Giraffe.
Giraffe, really?
Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Beatrice Bakery. They ship cakes all over the country. True story. But take a look inside their shop and you'd have no idea. This is a Nebraska product through and through. Not some massive production plant. Local people making delicious cake just for you. So go see them in their new storefront location in downtown Beatrice. Grab some grandma's fruit cake, some chocolate rum cake, or my favorite, the turtle nut cake. And say hi to Rick and the crew. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Every time the back door closes, it squeaks and reminds me of how I used to go out back for a cigarette 2-3 times a day, when I was stressed, when I was hungry, when I was bored. But then I think of how the stale taste lingered in my mouth, and I reach into my purse and pop a stick of gum. And the craving is gone.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast today, partly sunny skies, maybe a little hot this afternoon and breezy as well. See an afternoon high of around 92. Tonight, partly cloudy skies are expected with light winds. See a low of around 68. And tomorrow, mostly sunny skies return with a high of around 90. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Second segment of Big Red Birdies, and it's going to be interesting to track them through summer and season, because as they work on their stuff, everybody gets better at golf listening to people break down what they do and how they get through it. It's necessary. Lindsey Thiele and Megan Whittaker from Nebraska Golf. 402-464-5685, Starter Hammond text line, Honda Lincoln hotline. Again, the video streams are up, so you can check in on the studio and what's going on. I asked the question before the break, so I'll ask you now. What is the relationship between your coach, your college coach, and your swing coach? How do you deal with that, Megan?
Luckily, I'm very fortunate that my coach is nearby, my swing coach is, and my college coach has a very good relationship with him, and she fully trusts him with whatever he wants to do with my swing, because they have the same philosophy with the swing, that it's mainly focused on balance, and every person has their own swing. So whatever you can do within your swing, she supports that. And so she kind of leaves the communication to me to communicate with both of them, tell him this is what I need. I can go see him whenever I need, but then, keep her in the loop of what I'm working on, so that way she can point out at practice, okay, you're falling back into those bad habits, or yes, that looks good. So I'm very lucky that, she's great with my swing coach.
Yeah, we are very blessed with that. I would say something that she touched on, but I want to emphasize too, is the communication part of it. Coach Sutherland is so awesome about that. She'll ask us, well, I can speak for myself, but she'll ask me when I get back from a lesson, hey, what'd you work on? Tell me everything so that I can be also helping you out and watching you too, to make sure you're on track there. But she's really good about, if I feel like I need a swing change, if I feel like I need his opinion, she's awesome about me going to him and getting that opinion from him. It works really well.
So that's the mechanics of the swing.
Mm-hmm.
How do the coaches engage when it comes to what's in your head?
Yeah.
We are very lucky that we have an amazing sports psychology staff at the university that helps us. So like I've worked with one of the sports psychology people at Nebraska, and same thing. I communicated, with them and with my coach that, okay, this is kind of what I'm doing. I would do breathing exercises. I would read books, and I would tell them, these are the books I'm reading. And most of coaches have read all the same golf books. So they were like, yes, we like that. And I mean, our coach now, she even reads the books with you, and she'll text you about it, and make sure that what they're saying, what the book's saying, what she's saying, it's all on the same page. So it's worked amazing.
It's also, I think, especially on the mental side of things, it's as much as we want to share with her, she's good to hear, but she doesn't like pry or anything, which is great. So we kind of try and keep separate, like the golf performance mental side of things versus the mental health work on its own, the personal side of things. Yeah. So we have a pretty good balance between the two, and then we can share whatever we want to with her, and she's great at listening and then being able to understand it too.
That's unique in that it doesn't always happen in major college programs where the individual folks versus the collective and the team. And I would imagine that she does a pretty good job of staying connected and sharing information with you guys, things that she finds from other folks. Mm-hmm. The conversations home, like when you've got people who know the game, who love the game the way you do, it's part of why you love it. The conversations home, how do you draw the line between what we would call in the car conversations
Mhm.
about your game and the game itself? What's the line? How do you deal with that?
That's a good question. I think for like our family, we always try to remember, and my parents have done a very good job with my brother and I both. We play golf. We are not golfers.
Mm.
So we are.
That's important.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are people first. We are friends. We are family. We are a lot of other things before we are a golfer. So they just try to make it as fun as possible for us whenever we play and make it, and I mean, we'll talk about golf a lot. I mean, I'll call them, when I'm at school here, hey, this is going on or this, and they just instill confidence and, remind me that anything you're going through, I've been through at some point, or my brother's been through.
Mhm.
So I think it's very positive self-talk at home, which is very helpful because it can be a very tough game to play. So if you keep hearing
Yeah.
Well,
negative
because
thoughts,
it's never perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a mental and emotional beatdown if you allow it.
Yeah.
So how do you, for a family of golfers, how do you deal with it?
I think it's much easier on the family side to remember that, yeah, golf is something we do. It's not who we are, even with my family of golfers.
Yeah.
I think because we know each other so well, they know the other things that make me tick, what I like to do, what I'm interested in. So I would say it's much easier on that family side of things to where I can talk about golf with them, but I don't have to, I go home and it's not the first thing they ask me about. It's not, what's your golf like? It's like, how are you? How have you been?
That's
Which is so
huge.
great because
That's huge.
yeah, I mean, when you're around other athletes every day and you're around a bunch of sports people without even meaning to, the conversations get directed towards your sport. So I think it's really, really important having that family part or the other friends part where it doesn't have to be the first question they go to, and it can kind of be a little break for us from it.
That's the perfect segue for talking about this show, because
Yeah.
once I introduce you to the fan base and give you the platform to do this, what they want to know is who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And you mentioned the things that you care about and the things that you enjoy away from the game. Now, you're going to have fans that ask you about the game because you're going to help them with their game, and that's fine and good. But I wanted to give you an opportunity to have a show that is not just sound bites and it's not just conversation about golf. So as a part of owning your own show and having that thing in place, you have to choose music,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the music tells us volumes about who you are. Okay. Megan, give me 3 songs, 3 bands that in your own space, your own time, you listen to.
I really like country music. So Chris Young
Okay.
and Zach Brown Band are my top
Okay.
2. But I also like a lot of like 80s music. So
Okay.
my family used to always listen to Earth, Wind and Fire. So I like that band a lot.
I'm impressed by that. We just saw them at PBA, so they're
Great.
fresh on my mind. Lindsay?
It's funny because me and Megan, we relate so much to this. We're concert buddies.
Okay.
We're country
right.
concert
All
buddies.
right.
So I think that's part of, coming from Nebraska and knowing each other for a long time. But I'm definitely a country music
Who have
fan
you seen?
too.
Who have you seen recent?
Oh, let's see. I've seen Riley Green.
Okay.
I'm going to Mitchell Tenpenny this weekend. I have George Strait lined up. So I've got a lot of them.
That's a
lined up.
big ticket.
Yeah, it's a big ticket. It's in Kansas City. It's a bit cheaper, which I'm
Okay.
excited about. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm a big country music fan. Love Morgan Wallen. I saw Dan and Shay with Megan. Actually, we went to that last year. Yeah, but actually, funny thing, it must be like our parents being similar or something. But my dad's a huge 80s music fan, so I grew up on that too. Always in the house when we were cooking. So Bryan Adams, yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Those
Fans
are all
of
the
that too.
bands that I grew up in. So you guys talk about it like oldies, but this is actually that was my college. That was my college era and what we did. What are you watching? What are you watching when you get time? You get a couple hours to yourself. What do you put on?
I prefer comedies.
Okay.
All my friends and family know I don't do well with like scary or
Okay.
super like crime intense.
Okay.
So that eliminates quite a few shows
Right.
for me. So like I watched Friends so many times, The
Oh, yeah.
Office, Parks and Rec, just some of those like light comedies. They're funny. You can watch them again.
What's
and
the
again.
funniest movie when you think of somebody asks you, what's the funniest movie?
I would say Hangover.
Can't go wrong with it. Like that's all right. Okay, Lindsay, come
That's
on.
true.
Give it
That's
to me.
true.
What are you watching?
It depends on what I all have going on in the week. Sometimes I appreciate the mindless TV where, like, if I just have had a week, golf practice, school, all that stuff, I'll flip on The Office. That's my go-to.
Yeah.
Right now, though, in the summer, it's a little bit less going on just between work and golfing and whatever. So I've been watching with my roommates. It's called Castle, and I'm not one to watch scarier shows on my own, so I need my roommates there to watch it with me. But it's like a murder mystery / dramatic kind of show, which I really enjoyed when I'm with them. So
What's your favorite movie?
Glory Road.
Really?
Sure. I love that movie. Yeah.
Really?
It's kind of funny. Every time we go home and my family wants to watch a movie, they always make fun of me because I suggest Glory Road without fail every single time because I don't have the DVD. So it's hard to find. So I always want to watch it when I go home.
Everything's available online.
I know it. Maybe I just don't want to look too far into it. That's my favorite. I could watch that every day.
Walk me through. You said when you're reading books, do you find it? I mean, you're mainly reading golf books, or do you put down and you go into something else?
For me, I'm not much of a reader except for golf books. So I will read golf books. I actually, when I start struggling mentally, that's the first place I go. I think those help you reset. I like 7 Days in Utopia. I thought that was one of the best books ever. So I prefer golf books. And I'll read articles and stuff online from Twitter or whatever, but it's mostly golf stuff.
I'm the opposite, actually. I don't know if that's kind of my way of having my separation a little bit, but yeah, when it's my own time and when I'm just winding down for the night or whatever, I don't read too many golf books. Occasionally something of like the mental side of golf or something, because that does help me. But if it's just like in my own leisure time, I'll usually consider that like homework, my golf books. But in my own leisure time, it's more, I read a lot of books about the mental side of things just in life in general. I read a lot of books about my faith. Never just like I don't really read like fun leisurely books. It's more like self-help books, I would say.
It's the coach in me, and I'll tell you to find the thing that just makes you alone. It allows you to be present in it. I don't care what it is. It could be a golf book. I don't care if it's football or self-help. The thing that allows you to isolate yourself.
For me, it's running.
Yeah.
I think working out, running, I've not experienced the runner's high that a lot of my friends have experienced. I don't find running like super enjoyable, but I find myself focused on running and I can just let my mind think. So, I mean, even after good days, bad days on the golf course, I sometimes just want to just go on a run because I just can kind of get back to myself and I can just think, and I remember things better when I'm running, or I'll remember this and I can let go easier and I feel so much better after.
Like, you ever just go to the gym and put up shots just to change your mechanics, just to put everything down?
Sometimes, yeah.
Who's the better basketball player between you two?
She would be.
Never played. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She played a lot longer and she's quite a bit taller. So I don't know if I could guard her.
Well, I mean, for folks that have been, high school in the state of Nebraska, it's a big enough thing and a great opportunity. And one of the things that I felt attracted to in your personalities is that other sports are a part of your lives.
Yeah.
If you were just golf specific, I'd worry a little because it'll eat you alive.
Yeah.
It'll eat you alive. So the fact that you have other things that will draw your attention are important. Drizzlefish is on the text line, says, what are the top 3 golf books to read?
I would say 7 Days in Utopia is number 1 for me.
That's a great one.
And then Bob Rotello wrote a book. I think it was like, I think it's Golf is Not a Game of Perfect. That was really good. Yep. And
Tiger Woods' book is really good.
Yes.
I'm drawing a blank as to what it's called right now, but it's got his picture right on the front.
What's in it? What's in Tiger's book?
A lot about the mental side of things, which is really good.
Isn't that?
You can learn so much about golf just through the mental side of things.
I mean, isn't? I always maybe I'm wrong, but I've always thought that Tiger's mentality was the difference maker. Like people think on the physicality, and I thought that's good. He's skilled, but it seems like he's got a different mind level than most of the people he's playing against.
I would agree.
Doesn't quit.
I'll ask you this, and then we'll go to break. And it's a bit controversial, but with the new tour, where do you stand Is there anything that makes you want to keep the PGA? Is it exposure? Is it where they're playing? Or is it okay that money becomes the thing?
I think,
And you can't be wrong in your opinion. So
yeah, I don't love the idea of the new tour, but I do like the fact that there's more competition, because I think there's a lot of really good golfers out there. I mean, these guys that are trying to make the PGA end up going out and competing right away on the PGA. And I just think there's only, I think, 200 guys on the PGA Tour. And a lot of the other professional sports, in the NFL, there's 32 teams times however many guys. I think they need another tour or something to allow more people an opportunity to go pro.
Yeah. I would say there's goods and bads to it, but part of me is just at first glance a little bit sad. Just, I don't know, as a golf fan, you like to see everyone enjoying the game together and being really cohesive with it. So yeah, on first glance, it's kind of like, oh, that's tough that it has to go that way and that it has to split up. But yeah, there are goods and bads to it for sure.
I'm always amazed in asking golfers. There's usually such a high level of genuine love for just playing the game that when it becomes money first, it's taking it into a different space.
Yeah.
And I just think now I would say this as well. If the same thing happened for the women's tour, it would change marketing and branding as we know it.
Yeah.
When we come back, I do want to talk to you about sponsorships, those sorts of things, and how you deal with it, because golf's not a cheap sport. It's not cheap to participate in. So assistance and help is required. I want to know how it happens for you individually, and then as collegiate athletes, how that stuff is handled. There are some sponsorships in place with the university, and that helps in decision making, but at some point soon you will be able to make those decisions yourself. So we'll talk about that when we come back.
Time for a new air conditioner? Bryant offers some of the most efficient available, up to 26 SEER. Call 467-1111 to schedule your free estimate or visit BryantLincoln.com.
Hey, batter, wings, splatter, splatter, splatter. Catch all this season's baseball action at one of your neighborhood Lincoln locations. Get League of Their Own wings, burgers, nachos, and ringers while catching all the action. Stop into Wings and Rings located on O Street in Meridian Park and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. Or place your order online at wingsandrings.com. That's wingsandrings.com. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf course reviews on the Nebraska Golf Passport Early Break Golf Tour with Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsrats.com. Bats Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Josh brought up an interesting topic during Song of the Day about 2000s dad rock. We were trying to just find some bands because he said Three Doors Down reminds him of like dad rock from the 2000s. Okay, Pork Chop says Papa Roach. That's dad rock. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
divorced dad rock.
Yeah. Buck Cherry, also divorced dad rock.
That's divorced dad rock went to a younger model.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment. And again, I'm just going to point out that as much as I'm looking forward to you guys educating me and the listeners about golf and your daily path and how you go through it, because what's good for you is good for everybody else. But it's the personality standpoint, because people have a perception of golfers and it can vary. But for them to get to know the personalities involved and how you got here, because it was entirely, as much as you think the paths were similar, very different paths to the University of Nebraska. Even being from Nebraska, it's a different path for all of you. And I think what you did before you got here as athletes matters. So, Megan, let's go through that again and let the folks know. What did you, if you weren't playing golf, what were you doing?
I was playing other sports or watching other sports. I grew up, my dream was actually always to play soccer at Nebraska. So I went to the soccer camp every summer with my cousin, Emma. We came to every soccer camp, stayed at my grandparents' house. It's always 110 degrees, but we still loved it. And so I played soccer. I think, I don't even know how many times we went to Des Moines and Kansas City for tournaments. I mean, my mom was our team manager. We had a great coach. He played professionally. So, I mean, we had practice, 4 or 5 times a week, Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. I mean, that was always my goal. And I also played basketball because my school friends played basketball. So I did that and played softball. And then I golfed occasionally with my family when they would ask if I wanted to play.
Lindsay, what would you be doing? This is a long list. So
yeah. With Megan's soccer, that was me with basketball. I was super into that from a young age. Traveling for it. Yeah. Going to camps for it, stuff like that. Also a little bit of volleyball, played club for a few years in there too. So a lot of, youth sports or attending my sister's youth sports events, a lot of that sports world, but also just spending a lot of time outside. We did a lot of backyard games or bike rides. We're just a very outdoorsy and active family, I would say.
You were mentioning your graduating class. How big was it?
46, I want to say. Yeah, I know. Pretty much the same for 13 years of school since we were in preschool.
It's the same 46.
I know. You get to know them so well. You get to know their grandparents well.
You get to know them too well.
Yeah, you know everything about them.
No, there's no way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You know everybody like the back of your hand. Word travels fast. Nothing is hidden.
Just...
Yeah, I know it.
Megan, how big was your graduating class?
Over 300.
Right.
So very different.
Right.
Yeah. It grew every year. Like kindergarten, you had 20 or 40 or whatever, but then middle school got to 150 and then high school was over 300. So
isn't that, that's a part of this process, is going from small town USA to Lincoln, where you've got the masses and everybody's paying attention. You're no longer anonymous.
Yeah.
It's got to be incredible. What do you root for when you're not playing golf? Like what sports get you excited about going to watch and be a part of?
I really like football and basketball. Like I love going to football games, even NFL. I like the Bears a lot. So, I mean,
that's two Bears fans. Harrison, look at this happening.
Yeah.
This is happening. Kyle Perry, Emmett Olsen is also a Bears fan.
Mm.
So it's happening right in front of us. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then who else do you root for?
I like going like in person to any game. Like I love soccer. I like baseball, softball, any sports. Volleyball atmosphere here is unbelievable. Like going to those games are just so fun. But I'll watch any sport if it's on TV, just about. So,
yeah.
Come on, Lindsay, give it to me.
We watched a lot of Husker volleyball when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I'll watch any volleyball, any college volleyball. I went through a phase where I was like super obsessed with the NBA. I've kind of phased out of that. I don't know if it's just because I don't have the time or what that is, but that was more in high school. I really was into the NBA.
Who'd you like? Who?
I was a Golden State Warriors fan during that whole.
Wow.
Yeah, so you went in the run.
I got a lot of crap for it for sure.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like you find a thing that appeals to you, and
yeah.
I always tell people who you root for speaks to who you are. Like you can't root for somebody that you oppose basic things about them.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's community, and you want to root for your community and folks that benefit that. But so I'll ask you this question because it's kind of how I see it going forward. What would your thoughts be if I said you go to a football game and you come in Monday and you tell us, or the next week, and you tell us what you saw?
Megan would be so much better at that than I would be.
I could do that. I'd maybe need to call my brother on Sunday and ask for his thoughts about. I've learned, I know a little bit about football thanks to my brother and dad. Like I know all the penalties and I know where the linebackers are kind of supposed to go. But I also, since college, I don't talk to them as much about football as we used to, and I don't listen to all the sports shows on the drive back. So I don't know, where everyone's supposed to be and what defense we play like I used to.
Yeah.
What about volleyball? So
volleyball, I could do so much better. On the football side, I could talk about it, but nothing would be correct. Except
you need to be fans. Well, no, but that's I have to tell you, that's important. Like I would just, from your perspective, what you saw.
That might be interesting. Yeah.
And I think what I want to do with the student athletes is kind of cross stream.
Yeah, let's do it.
And to have volleyball players talk about golfing and maybe go play with you and see how good or bad they think. Sending football players to play golf with you guys would be hilarious.
That'd be a blast. We should do it.
So I think going forward as we do this is a part of the process.
Yeah.
Is to give you guys access to each other, kind of compare programs, how different student athletes go through their day and through their season, because it's all different and it's all amazing. So have you talked to your folks about this show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They want to come speak on it whenever they can. We'll get that
they're
going.
excited. They're excited for us.
It's important for them to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, which is an important thing. And I think it's going to be great for everybody. I think the fans are going to love this show. I really do. So
this is going to be great.
And then you guys, so you're playing in tournaments next week.
Yep.
And then we're looking at doing a full launch July 7th. Is that what we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thursday.
When you come back, tell us how you did. Tell us what's going on. And then we can go from there. But I'm looking forward to what this is going to be.
Sweet.
Job well done tonight.
Thank you.
Fully enjoyed this. This is good. For Harrison, you're going to take it over for the night? Yeah, good deal. I can go home now. These young ladies did their thing. Good stuff all the way around. I will be back tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Got a full day for you. Pretty good one. We're going to have Ramel Lloyd Sr., who played for me in the CBA, and his son is now on campus as a basketball player, Ramel Lloyd Jr. We're going to have a fun conversation about his journey. It's all good stuff. Ladies, job well done. Harrison, it's all you. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket on theticketfm.com and the Ticket app. See ya.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day.